Copper theft is spiralling out of control. Or is it? I'm Dave, welcome to Dave Takes It On. We're looking into the copper theft, people cutting the cables and selling the copper. So you've got to start wondering why they're doing it. Is it purely for the copper, or is it a bit deeper? Is it some sort of vendetta against Tesla? I don't know. It would seem it's not Tesla specifically, because others are involved. I know Instavolt have had a spate of this. But where's the structure in this? I don't understand it. You see, I just had a look at price of copper, and it's £6,000 a tonne. So a tonne of copper is an awful lot of copper. You won't get that in the boot of your car. So this is going to be a van. And if we look at a typical cable, I pick them up all the time, they're not that heavy. So if you go to a charger location with 6 chargers, these cables might have, 10 kilograms of copper in each of them. So you might be able to get 6, 8 or 10 cables, each one's worth 60 quid, so it's a few hundred quid. But my answer to all of this is stop them selling it. If there's no market for the copper, they won't steal it. So the first thing we should be doing is the government and the police should be clamping down on the scrap metal dealers. Someone somewhere is buying this copper off them. And there's supposed to be a law in place which says if you are taking scrap metal to a scrap metal dealer, then you have to prove where you got it from. Quite logical. Bit like if you go to the bank and try and pay in £10,000 in cash. You will be stopped and asked, where did you get it from? So some of this is down to scrap metal dealers. Why are they paying people cash for these cables or the copper in them? Now, one answer is, well, they don't know it's the copper in the cables simply because they melt it down themselves before they get there. But actually trying to melt down a ton of copper, that's not something you do in your kitchen. This is an awful lot of copper. You're going to need a lot of energy to actually melt it down. So is someone actually going to steal 10 cables, each weighing 10 kilos of copper? That's 100 kilos of copper. Are you going to be able to melt that down and then take it as a lump, as an ingot, down to your scrap metal dealer? If you are, why aren't they saying, where did you get this from? Because that's what's needed. And if they're not melting it down, why are the scrap metal dealers still in business? That's a matter for the police. The other answer, of course, is it's a sign of the times. It's just the society we're in. People used to go up on the roof and nick lead on their church roof. So this sort of thing has always gone on. It's just unfortunate. It's EV chargers. It's not lead anymore. It's copper. And this is just the way we are. And in times of hardship, which we're in at the moment, then even getting 100 quid for copper that's worth 300 or 400 quid might be enough for the week's shopping for whatever you're doing. I happen to believe it's probably a lot more organised than that, and it's not someone going out and stealing enough to get the money to buy their family the week's shopping. However, that's speculation. But what we need to do then, if that's the case and this is what's happening, is to start looking after our chargers far better. See, if you are stealing 10 cables, each weighing 10 kilos, that's a fair bit of stuff. These cables are not that flexible. You can't roll them up and chuck them in your boot. Some of these cables, you can't even bend them. So you've got to somehow get that in. And that means that you need to get a vehicle there really close to be able to load it up. And it's probably going to be a van. Now, most vehicles, not all, most vehicles are registered and you can work out where they are. And if you're not registered as a vehicle, we have something called ANPR. You pull into a motorway services and overstay, you get a ticket, right? So ANPR can find out where you are and how long you're there. So if we can identify the vans or the lorries that are picking up this stuff to take to the scrap metal dealers, why aren't the police using ANPR to track them down where they are? It baffles me that there's so much that could be done really simply, and yet we just sit back and nobody does it. So that's one answer, is let's get some cameras up. All of the charging websites have got power. They've also got the internet. There is no excuse for not putting one camera high up, out of reach of anyone, which is just there clocking the number plates as people pull in and videoing people as they load up, cut the cables and load them up into the vans. And if the police can't be bothered chasing them, that's a bit of a sad reflection on society. So let's get ANPR up and get them caught. But the second thing we need to do is, if it is going to become pandemic, let's just put the chargers inside gated areas. I've got no problem with that. If you go in somewhere, you can charge. If it's a car charging location, it doesn't need to be 8 foot wide to allow a lorry in. So you could put an entrance, and we see them on some of the streets now to slow the traffic down. And some of the ones, I've got a wide car, Model S is quite a wide car, and some of them I barely scrape through. If they were to put one of those barriers at the beginning of at the entrance to every charger, they can't get the vans in there anyhow. There's a lot can be done, and just sitting back and saying, "Oh no, this is not good." It's something to do with EVs. Nothing to do with EVs. As I said, this has been going on, led on church roofs for hundreds of years. So it's nothing to do with EVs. This is just some opportunists who see an easy bit of money, and then a society that actually, first of all, will pay someone for that, the copper, and secondly, the police that do nothing about it. We need to get moving on it. Thanks very much for watching. I'm Dave.